This episode of the Focus Action Results podcast is brought to you by Accelerate Performance, creators of the Focus Action Results course and the FAR Planner. Welcome to the podcast that promises you'll be much more productive with me, your host, Ralph Farquhar. Hello and welcome to this next episode of the Focus Action Results podcast. Today we are going to look at social media. And in particular, we're going to look at a social media diet. That's right, a social media diet. I call it SoMe because social media is kind of what social media is all about. It is all so me. Yes, lots of people out there portraying to the world how amazing it is. You know, despite the fact that, millions of people are suffering from COVID. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people have died. Lots of people have recovered but have got long COVID, so it's all pretty nasty. We've had the worst American president in living memory. Thankfully, he's just on his way out. We've got a bunch of incompetents running the government in the UK, and I apologise to those who don't agree with me. Actually, I'm not sure I do. They are so incompetent. Lack of leadership, but there we are. This isn't a political show. This is all about how to focus, take action and get the results you want. But the point is, there are so many things out there which are terrible. People are losing their jobs. People are homeless. And yet we're all out there on social media going, look at me, it's so me, it's so me. Look at this amazing meal that I've just had. I want to share this with everybody. Look, my child is in a nativity play, along with every other child. And do you know what? Don't get me wrong. Those are amazing memories for us to have with our families and our nearest and dearest. But how many people are you connected to on social media that you would say are your nearest and dearest? Right, so if we take Facebook as an example, I was talking to an ex-colleague of mine, a friend of mine. I've sat and had drinks with him. I've sat in his house, so I would call him a friend, and we're friends on Facebook. And I was talking to him about, the fact that people are posting this, that, and the other thing, and all the rest of it, and the level of engagement and stuff like that. And he just said, yeah, but you've just got to ask yourself, are they friends, or are they Facebook friends? Now, of course, people you're connected to on Facebook, some of those probably are your friends, but most of them are likely to be Facebook friends, people that you would never go out for a drink with or have a meal with, people that you may have been connected to and worked with for a time or met in some social situation and then you're connected to, and you get to see all about how amazing their life is. And you know what, some of their life probably is great, but a lot of it isn't, and we know that there's this huge facade that comes across in social media, right? I saw one just yesterday about somebody who, over 10 years, they've had a remarkable journey. They got divorced. That's terrible. I've been through that. Not nice at all. Not something I would wish on anybody, because it's a really difficult thing, even if it's done for the right reasons. And if it's done for the wrong reasons, well, then it's even worse, right? So it's a really difficult thing to go through. And they have had an amazing 10 years. And they've got to the point now where they're really chuffed and they're really happy. And there were photographs of them on the top of a mountain, and they'd been skiing. And I'm looking at it thinking, God, that just looks fabulous. But there was this long post about how life was terrible, how it's all about seizing opportunities, it's about changing your attitude, your mindset, and all those things. And don't get me wrong, this is part of what we're talking about in this show. You've got to have that mental attitude. You've got to change it so that you're really focused on the things that are going to make life better for you. Remember that what you feed gets stronger. If you feed the wolf, then guess what? The wolf and all the scary things are going to come out. And they're going to come out often. So you feed all the good stuff, guess what happens? All the good stuff comes out. So it is all about feeding that positive mental attitude. But I don't have an issue with the journey that they've been through, and I'm genuinely really pleased for them. But it's the way in which it was written and constructed and pushed out to everybody to go, look at me, and let me collect likes from everybody. And this was pushed out on a day that the UK is creating this new Tier 4, so that the whole of London and much of the southeast now has effectively Christmas cancelled, nothing able to be done, no one's able to travel anywhere, you can't travel in or out of a Tier 4 location. Even if you're in the rest of the country now, you can only do that for one day on the 25th. That's not very useful for my parents who live in Dorset, and we're going to spend the day with my brother up in Nottingham. Not helpful at all. They're just not going to be able to go there and back in one day, and they're not allowed to stay over. So there's a whole bunch of people who are having a really tough time yesterday, punctuated, I have to say, by a great final in Strictly Come Dancing. Didn't watch it, but loads of people have said that it was fantastic, and it shows that the older generation still has it in them, so well done there. But, it's a bit of a tough time. So it feels a bit tone deaf to post a long missive with loads of big smiley photographs of everything and how life is amazing, when other stuff and other people around are just not having a great time. And that's one of the things I have about social media, right? I'm not a complete fuddy-duddy. I like it. It's occasionally fun, right? It's nice to see how people are getting the things that they want or they deserve, or sharing stuff, and it can be quite fun. But sometimes it can just be a bit OTT. It can be a bit look at me. Now, going back to this whole thing about your Facebook friends versus your real friends. Now, you go onto something like Instagram where you gather followers, and you've got the younger generation, for example, that have they're collecting followers, and they're following other people in order to collect other followers, and then post stuff all about them and how their life is, and the filters that they apply, and the photographs, and all of those sorts of things. It's just not real. Now, I get that you can have escapism, and that is a worthwhile thing. It has been a grim year, and I am not advocating for a second that you shouldn't indulge in the things that make you happy, if they make you happy, and if they don't annoy you or wind you up or anything like that. But the reality is that most of it is relatively inconsequential, and quite a lot of it is just SoMe. It's all SoMe, SoMe, SoMe. Right, so what am I suggesting? Well, I'm not suggesting stopping using social media. It's there, it's one of those things that we've all grown up with. God forbid if I tried to stop my youngsters using social media, it would be a train wreck, right? They'd never talk to me. Oh, hang on a second. No, they're teenagers, they don't talk to me anyway. But you know what I'm saying? They would go mental. And as we're all locked down, and as it's been a terrible year and they've had homeschooling, this whole social media thing has been useful. They've been able to keep in touch with each other. But there are degrees. And you can spend a lot of time on social media, right? You're looking through it and something catches your eye, and then you go off somewhere else and you go, oh, right, yeah, so this person I don't know, but they're a friend of a friend. They've done something that looked quite interesting. Oh gosh, their life looks better than mine does. Oh, so does theirs. Wow, how do they have such good skin? And they've had a lovely day. We can't have a lovely day out because we're in Tier 4. Oh, but yeah, no, do you know what? Half an hour's gone by. Half an hour that you could have been focused and you could have been taking action. So let me be really clear. If you have nothing to do and you're really not seeking to achieve anything, then go for your life. Be on social media, post, read it all, right? If it brings you joy, fantastic. But if you're trying to achieve something, if you're wanting to focus, take action, get through the task list, right, in order that you can hit those goals, then you need to go on a social media diet. I have one place that I think that social media is good for, and that is the, 5 minutes that you might be sitting on the loo. Maybe 10. Don't know. I'm not going to do a survey here and check how long you all do, all right? And I'm not going to reveal how long I do. But it's enough time as you're sitting there just to check out what's going on, quickly flick through, have a look, and then be done with it. And then Get on with the tasks that you have in your to-do list. Okay. Now there's something to, some people will sit here going, well, hang on a second, I use social media for my job, right? I need to be on social media. And hey, Ralph, you're being a hypocrite because you're on social media, you're on LinkedIn. And the answer is, yeah, I am on LinkedIn. And for my job, I'm on LinkedIn because people, I need people to know who I am. I want to push stuff out there to promote. And I do. In those instances, I'm going, hey, look at me. Look at me. This is what I've been up to. You can come here. We can do some coaching with you. You can come here and you can get an online course. You can learn how to focus, take action and get results. You can book a session around sales people assessments and evaluations, right? So I'm promoting myself through social media. And it's a valid thing to do in a work context. And by the way, as I said, it's a valid thing to do in a personal context on other social media platforms too. I've got nothing against them. But the thing I'm trying to advocate here is be clear about when you're using them and why, and put yourself on a diet so that you're not just running ragged, looking at social media all the time, getting distracted, and so you can really focus on the things that you have to do, right? I just want to reiterate that again. So, I'm not being a real bore, an old fuddy-duddy and saying social media should be bad. I don't think it should. I find it enjoyable, it's useful, and LinkedIn in a work context is very useful. And I get to find things out. And I know that, for example, when I'm working with small businesses, these small businesses, the founders and the people working in them, they rely on LinkedIn to find information out that they wouldn't be able to find out before. They can find people that can help them in their business. And that's great. So I think that something like LinkedIn is excellent. Now, in the work environment, though, if you think about this, I read statistics that somebody had done some research on this. If you're looking to get in touch with a potential client base, only 6% of your posts on something like LinkedIn are read. Just 6%. It's not very much, right? You've got to have a lot of connections for 6% to be a reasonable number. So you go through and you try and create a webinar that you want to promote something or offer a free course or a free book or something like that, and you want to attract people to that. You need to be pushing that out to a lot of people, and quite often in order to get a very small return. Now, in contrast, if you're in business, I would still say pretty much go on a social media diet, go on a SoMe diet. What you actually need to do is generate your own targeted email list, because 22% of people who receive an email read it. Now you may think, bloody hell, I just get so many emails constantly, I don't know how I subscribe to this list, and occasionally you go through and you unsubscribe to the things that aren't relevant, and in fact it's one of the things that I suggest you do in my 60 Ways to Hooray book. It's one of the things that's on my website, right? I suggest you unsubscribe to everything. You go on a low information diet. You unsubscribe from everything other than the things that are really meaningful to what you're trying to achieve, and what you're trying to do in your family, your personal, your work, and so forth, in those areas, right? So if you're in business, I would say you need to generate your own email list, because even if you think you get too many of them, even if you just read the headlines of a load of them yourself and then you bin them, statistics say that 22% of people read them, and therefore you're getting your message out to over 4 times as many people as you would do if you are just posting on social media. So I'm not suggesting social media is a bad thing. I've said this 3 or 4 times now because I don't want anybody getting the wrong impression. It can be fine, it's fun, it's entertaining, it can be useful, but just put yourself on a diet, right? Don't get distracted all the time. Focus on the things that are going to move you forwards, and that means having a time and a place when you do social media, right? My suggestion, do that when you're sitting on the loo. That may not be enough time for you, and you may want to look at it at other times as well, just before you're going to bed, except I would not advocate doing that because it puts your brain into a different pattern and you're therefore not going to find it easy enough to fall asleep. But it's fine. to do it when you want to do it, but just plan when that's going to be and do it a little. So there we are. So that's my view, right? I think that a lot of what happens on social media is very shallow. So therefore the question is it worth looking at all of it? If it's for your real friends and for the Facebook or other social media platform friends that you have, then great. Otherwise, perhaps it's not something that is adding much to your ability to focus and take action and get the results you want. So my suggestion is, as I said, go on that diet. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and I will speak to you next time on the Focus Action Results podcast. I hope that was helpful for you today and you enjoyed listening to the Focus Action Results podcast. If it was either helpful or enjoyable, or heaven forfend both, please subscribe, leave feedback, share with friends and family, and tweet it loud with the hashtag Focus Action Results podcast.